I'm Danielle Chauvet, and welcome back to Knitting Nicely. I'm your knitting coach, and today we're going to learn how to do the seed stitch. This is a fun stitch because it's the same on the back and the front. So we've got all of our stitches lined up, ready to go. This is a pattern used for an odd number of stitches. So first we're going to slip that first stitch, and then we're going to bring the yarn back to the back of our work, and the first stitch is a knit stitch, and then the second stitch will be a purl stitch. So we got to bring our yarn to the front and then do a purl stitch. Next stitch is a knit stitch again, so bring your yarn to the back and do a knit stitch. Once again, bring your yarn to the front and do a purl stitch. So the basic stitch of seed stitch is knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl, all the way across your entire row. Here we've got a purl stitch, and then another knit stitch. And then we've got another purl stitch, and another knit stitch. It's a pretty easy pattern to learn as a beginner, but you just have to remember which stitch you're on. If you just did a knit stitch, then your next one is a purl stitch. Okay, so at the end of the row, we have 2 stitches left. 1, 2. We do a knit, and instead of doing another purl, we do another knit. That ends our row, and we turn our work around. The first stitch on every row will always be a slip stitch, purl-wise. That just means that you're moving the stitch straight over to your other needle with the yarn in the front. Then you move the yarn to the back and do your first knit stitch. Move the yarn to the front, do a purl stitch. To the back, knit stitch. To the front, purl stitch. To the back, knit stitch. To the front, purl stitch. Once you get into a rhythm, it's really fun to just kind of relax into it, going back and forth with your needles. So we go purl, and then knit, and then purl. Oh, we only have 2 stitches left, so now we do a knit and a knit. Remember, at the end of the row, don't do a knit purl, do a knit knit. There you go. So this little bump, 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 bump on your work, I think that's why they call it a seed stitch, because they look like little seeds. Okay, so we're going to do another row. Don't forget to do your first stitch as a slip stitch with the yarn in the front. Move the stitch just across to your other needle. Then bring your yarn to the back and do a knit stitch. And then a purl, and then a knit. And I speed it up so you don't have to watch me. And we're at the end of the row again, so we do 2 knit stitches. Knit, knit. Okay, now we're going to start a new one. Remember, start with a slip stitch. Don't knit it, just slip it. Then we're going to do first stitch as a knit, then a purl. Now remember, when you're doing your knitting, try to look at your knitting closely so you can decide whether you're supposed to be doing a knit or a purl. And the way I do this is if the purl stitch is a bump, if that's my next stitch, I know I have to knit it. If it's got a little upside down V, or actually it's upside up V, then I know I need to purl it. So knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. Your hands will memorize the pattern quite quickly, and you'll be able to do it without even thinking after a while. Okay, so I want to show you something on this. When you've got a few rows, you'll be able to see it, all those little, cute little bumps up and down, in kind of a zigzag pattern, or as you get more of it, it'll look like a big diagonal on them. But I wanted you to see that the back looks exactly the same as the front. all these cute little seed bumps. And also on the sides, because we're slipping that first stitch, we have a nice neat edge with little V's on it. Both edges look nice and neat on the sides. Okay, so I am going to speed up my video again a little bit so that you have more rows, so you can see a little bit more of what the seed stitch looks like with more rows. Here we go! Zoom, 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 all the way to the end of the row, and another row. Zoom, 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 zoom. It's like knitting like a superwoman. And we knit again all the way across another row. See, it's getting thicker and wider at the bottom, so you'll be able to see the seed stitch pattern a little bit better. Okay, so now we have quite a few rows, and you can see the pattern. Very nice, simple stitch, perfect for beginners. It's got lots of nice texture to it. And again, I'll show you the sides. It kind of looks like a little braid on the sides, which I like, because I like my edges to be nice and neat. There's a little braid, braid, braid. And on the other side it's the same. Because this is a reversible stitch, it's nice for using as a dishcloth or maybe a blanket, something that you'll see both sides of. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.